Hello everyone, I got some awesome news. The fact that we are going to actually start doing some work on this vehicle. The reasoning behind this is the fact that my work at the moment for school is so stressful and so brain twisting that I've decided I want to do something I enjoy and that's close to my heart. So I've decided there are some things I can do on this car that I'll be able to start working on and finishing and getting ready for finishing restoration of this car. And one of them that I'm going to start doing in my next video for this car will be the bottom corner. However, we still have to do the tarp, and this will probably all happen over the coming weeks. And yeah, so the plan is I might actually move it close to the shed for a certain duration of time. That way we have power and less noise of all these things going. I'm going to make a video at the same time. I'm going to do this welding job and things up on this I'm going to be doing. So the whole idea is I've got to clean up at the same time. I've got to basically move this over there and get it all prepped and ready to go. The plan is also to clean this up a little bit since she's a bit dirty, and the dirt also holds moisture, which is bad, and it helps rust the car away. Also, that tarp is definitely getting replaced. We already have the tarp to replace it. Now let's have a look at the rust section we're going to be doing during the next video. Guys, this is what we're looking at right here. This big gaping hole with all that bog. I mean, you can see it. And this is how this car was when I got it. And as you can see, there's still some damage in here that hasn't been cut out and cleaned. And I'm looking around there and can see some weird spots that I need to have a look at. But this is what we're going to be fixing, and I'm not 100% sure how this is actually playing out video wise for you guys, so I've got to change my perspective and actually monitor the camera because I'm a one-man crew here, so it's a bit hard. So what we're looking at is a section that's been first of all cut out, and as we can see there are lines. There is an angle grinder blade going through there. We've cut along there, and we got this piece actually just about ready to make, the outside piece anyway. We still need to make the inside piece for in here to weld back in, but before we do that, we're actually going to cut a lot more out of this, and that's that section right there, because we're going to be using that as a graft. We're going to be taking that out, cutting all that black stuff out down the bottom here, and we're going to cut basically from this point roughly where my finger is up a little bit and across to about here somewhere, and then we're going to cut it through. And voila, that is basically what we're going to do. So what the whole idea is for this panel is we're going to have a piece or two in here, and it's going to be welded together nice and sharply, and it's going to try and blend in as best as it can, the outside especially. The inside doesn't have to be as good, but we're going to try and aim for as good a perfection job as possible. We're going to be taking before and after pictures of this, and that will make sure that when we do take this to get it registered, that we can check with the engineers that this is safe enough to get registered for this problem. So this will be at least one section of the car that gets restored. It will need new screw holes for mud flaps, and then I think it will be okay. And we'll also be working another day on these sections here. So basically the whole idea behind this task, this job, is we're going to be working from the very back of the car to the very front as time progresses, because there's not really any rust at the rear, at the tail sections. There's no rust here, so that's pretty solid, and we're going to be using this mud flap here for a bit of a guide on how to put the mud flap back in. And it's going to be tricky. These screws are going to be replaced with stainless steel replica, basically, screws, and we're going to get kits. So yes, that's going to happen. And here, we're not exactly sure what we're going to do exactly here, but we're going to have to look into if this is going to rust or not. And it looks like it's been rusting, even though because I have to look at this and have to check what's going on with sections of the vehicle to make sure that if there is any rust, that we can clean it and get rid of it as soon as we possibly can. But this is going to need a lot of work. There's a bit of gunk in there, I can see it, the black gunk in that little channel there. So that's a bit of a worry. I'm not sure what we'll be able to definitely do 100%, but we've just got to get this to near enough restorated condition, any of these problems will be things that are going to come through later on, and that is something that's basically premature repair job. So over time things are going to definitely rust. I won't be able to do a proper job, because if I want to do a proper job I don't have all the tools, skills, money and all that stuff, so I'm going to have to do sort of half-assed stuff. These things are pretty easy in a workshop, panel beating shop, to take apart the seals and they'll be done. So firstly, this corner, these sections here will be repaired and painted on the insides and out, just for protection. And I think we'll move on to this door here and fixing that rust that's on the bottom of the door. And we can see here that there's rust there for real, so we know that we're talking about the rust that's on there. So basically, if you like the plan, please support the channel, and I look forward to doing some of this stuff on the car, because it's going to help take away some of the stress that I'm under and other stuff. So I've got a little bit of other news to say before I end this particular video and go edit it and upload it for you guys to watch. The fact that I've done work on my Triton. Now, there was a bolt missing on the trans case mounting point, so I basically put that on the car, and I don't want it on there anymore. I want to take that off, or I want to find a resolution to this, because if I don't have that, it's going to affect the driveline. The problem it has now is there's so many vibrations going through the entire body that things are going to fall apart, one. And another reason what's going to happen is if I don't leave it on there, it's going to do damage to the driveline. But if I leave it on there, the car is extremely loud. I feel like I need to put a pair of earmuffs on so I don't have to hear the car. It's so loud I can barely hear my music anymore. It used to be so nice, it used to be perfect until I put that bolt back on. So I basically either have to figure out how to deal with that issue, as in resolve the issue, basically mount it higher, and all sorts of other things I could potentially do, or basically I have to drop the mount that holds it up there properly. Brakes. The cables on my car have been fixed. Unfortunately, I had video, but I haven't rendered it or anything. There's a lot of videos I've made that I haven't rendered. This one is definitely going up, I know that for certain. And the schoolwork is insanely difficult, since I'm playing with artificial intelligence and basically sound and heat navigation systems. So that's really tricky stuff to do, especially when you've never done it before. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start working on that ZL Fairlane, and this is going to be beautiful. I'm not sure if we're going to do exactly what I said that we're going to do, but if we do it that way, that's the best way to do things, since there's a lot of noise in that corner, not many power points, and not to mention if it rains, that's the more likely spot to get wet other than near the shed. And if I do it over there, likely chance of the welder getting wet, if we bring that out, is very high. If it's over near the shed, at least we can quickly move it into the shed if it starts to rain or the clouds are coming in or something. So we're all ready for that by moving the car to the shed, and then when we're ready to pack up, we just put everything away, push the car forwards, and hope that we do not hit the fence or whatever. So it's going to be a bit of work, it's going to be tough. To get the video footage is going to be difficult as well. I'm going to try and do it as nicely and neatly as possible, so I basically show step-by-step sort of things that I've been doing. It's going to be a bad idea to film every single thing I'm doing, but I'm going to tack my pieces in place. I'm going to then sort of do small tacks, like I'm just going to tack it, I'm not going to bead weld it, because every time I've bead welded, something's gone boop, 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 and I've gotten told by experts who have done this stuff before, you just tack, 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 and it takes you hours to tack a panel in place, but it's the better way to go if you don't want your panels to warp, since you're always maintaining about a stable temperature, just warm enough to melt the metal and then cold enough that it's not going to basically warp the steel or anything, so it should be okay. Anyway, that's all the time I have for this video. Thank you for watching, have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. I'm Michael the Mechanical, I'm signing off.